creativity which resides, I think, in every human being. And it's when multiple creative people come together, that's when they say magic happens.
With every thought you're creating a picture.
Where does creativity lie? It lies within each one of us, but why is it that some days when you're yearning for it, it doesn't come?
So taking care of which color you are using to paint your mind with, which thought.
I think it really comes from a place of stillness. You try to get a great idea and force it out. It'll never come.
So we also see that, right? That as you look within and, whether you meditate or you start going into a zone which is a lot deeper than, the superficial world.
How much you are going to think, when you are going to think, why are you going to think that way? So it's a very conscious choice that you have to make with every thought. And that is like painting those colors here. And then that manifests as the quality of your life.
We are here in Bangalore with another edition of our ThinkRight Podcast. And we have with us here today a guest who is actually a creator of something that has become a landmark in the city of Bangalore, the Museum of Art and Photography. An art collector, patron for art, left his business family, and we'll discuss all of that and a lot of other businesses to dedicate his life to something that is so meaningful and so important for us to build as society, arts and culture in India, and see how we can actually use this to do a lot more in terms of taking our soft power both within India and around to the world. We are also very privileged to have with us our ever radiant Didi, Sister Shivani. And I think the whole ambience and the discussion that we're going to have today is truly about seeing how we can get into different aspects of a person's life, which goes beyond so many other themes that we have been discussing so far. So let me begin with you, Abhishek. You are a person who has actually, set yourself a little different from many of the other generational business family, people. And how did this really happen? When did art hit you? Take us a little through your growing years and what got you so motivated to do something so different, but still very exciting, for us today.
So I think art hit me very early on in life, Rajan. It's great to be here with Sister Shivani, who I've admired forever, but I'm having the first opportunity to meet. So I think since I was a kid, I was interested in the arts. And what took me further in this was my time at school at Doon. And we had this amazing art school there. And along with that was a chance meeting with M.F. Husain, who I saw waiting at a bus stop in Calcutta. And it was the Illustrated Weekly, which the centerfold used to be about an artist, and which is where I learned about Husain. I was maybe about 14 or 14 and a half then. And that's when I learned he doesn't wear shoes and he walks barefoot. And this person looked like Husain at this bus stop. This was in the holidays in Calcutta. And when the car moved forward, I turned around and saw he wasn't wearing his shoes. So I asked the driver, I said, "Ab gaadi ghuma ke lao," and I got off there and I said, "Husain Saab, can I give you a lift? Can I drop you somewhere?" And he says, "How do you know it's me?" I said, "Aap joote nahi pehne." So he says, "Yes, it is me, but I'm actually waiting for someone to fetch me from here who's late. So would you mind waiting with me?" So I waited with him for about 10 minutes until the guy came. And we got chatting and he asked me where I lived. And I pointed to the house, which was a few, maybe 100 or 2 meters away. And he said, "Why don't I come and have a cup of tea with you tomorrow?" And Rajan, he used to come. He started staying with me whenever he came to Cal. And he introduced me to other artists. And it was serendipity like this which got me more excited and interested in art. And it was a chance meeting with some of the greatest gurus, whether it was Mapu, who took me towards textiles, or someone like Swaminathan, who showed me about folk and tribal art, or Manjit Bawa, who took me to all the other contemporary artists, or Dayanita Singh towards photography. So I was just blessed to be around these great minds and creators and historians and educators, which is how I got interested in art.
The power of creativity which resides, I think, in every human being. And it's when when multiple creative people come together, that's when they say magic happens, right? So when we look at something like you use the word serendipity, right? How how does one really explain something like this?
See, we always have to remember it's the journey of the soul. We always look at the person. We look at the age of the body. We look at their present scenario of family, business. But this is only our present. It's like he's wearing this dress today. Yesterday he was wearing another dress. Tomorrow he'll wear another dress. The person is the same. So the person's journey continues. The costume, which we change every 24 hours, it keeps changing. But the journey of the person continues. Similarly, this costume, which is the body, we will change, let's say, every 100 years. But the journey of the person continues. And person means the soul. So obviously, the soul has come with that beautiful sanskars which have that connection or that inclination towards art. It can't just happen automatically. You're just getting those people into your life. It's because you are radiating that vibration. It is there in your intention, even though you won't remember it because it's not your present memory. It is a past memory. So he's obviously been a part of it. It's there, very deep ingrained, and he has come with that sanskar and karma. And then here again, he will automatically get connected, automatically feel inclined towards it. The logic will not find an answer for it. So if we logically say, but why? But how is it that we are not inclined towards it? Why were you inclined towards it? There will not be a logical answer. It is because I, the soul, am inclined towards it. Why? Because I carry that recording on me. It has been a part of my system, and the journey continues. Costume changed, role changed, family changed, relationships changed. Journey of the soul continues. It will continue in this lifetime. And when he leaves this costume, it will go forward with him again.
So the contribution, see, there are people who, do the act of whatever the art and the creativity. And there are others who actually bring all of that and unleash the true power of what that creativity has done, right? And both are very, different roles. So are you also very creative yourself?
The honest answer is, I like creativity. I think I'm creative, but I'm not very good at it. There's a eye-hand coordination defect over here. I think my eye is better than my hand is. And the other problem is, Rajan, when you've been around the great masters, you inevitably compare what you're doing to what they've done, and you realize how bad you are. So then you stop doing it, which is what has happened. I like to surround myself with creative people. I enjoy creativity. I think I can articulate it better than I can do it. That's the honest truth.
How does art resonate with you?
I think it's more here for me because, again, I'm not good at doing it outside. But then on the canvas of your mind, with every thought you're creating a picture. So here comes the situation, and every thought you create is going to create your life's picture on the canvas of your mind. So taking care of which color you are using to paint your mind with, which thought. So even that, choosing your every thought carefully, the stroke, how you are going to think, what you are going to think, how much you are going to think, when you are going to think, why are you going to think that way? So it's a very conscious choice that you have to make with every thought. And that is like painting those colors here. And then that manifests as the quality of your life. So art within, not outside.
So we also see that, right? That as you look within and, whether you meditate or you start going into a zone, which is a lot deeper than, the superficial world, you tend to become a lot more creative. And that creativity first will unleash in your own life, like what you rightly said.
Earlier, we were not creative with our way of thinking because we would just react. So you're not choosing. So creativity in the way of thinking. Earlier, we will say, they did this, so obviously I'll get angry. So there's no creativity required for that. You're just going through your automatic way of reacting with your sanskar. She said this, obviously I'll get hurt. No creativity, zero creativity. Now she said this. I have 10 options of how to respond. And I have 10 options of how to now speak to her when she has said this. So that is creativity. So we always say creativity in the way of thinking and responding to scenes of life, not just like a button pressed react. Zero creativity.
It's interesting we've got this word creativity because creation is from creativity. I mean, if we see the universe, or we see, today we look at the world of disruption, we see of innovation. It's the human mind that has imagined something. And we are seeing people go to, whether it's Mars or, how many things are happening today which are led by the imagination of the human mind. But we still grossly underestimate this inner power that I think everybody...
Creativity? Yeah. I think it really comes from a place of stillness. Yes. And you try to get a great idea and force it out. It'll never come. It'll suddenly pop in when you are receptive and you are still. And where does creativity lie? It lies within each one of us, but why is it that some days when you're yearning for it, it doesn't come? I think it comes from a place of stillness. I mean, you'll be able to say that much better than...
That's what, creativity, intuition also. Similar, right? Again, if you're reacting, there's no creativity in that. I mean, anybody knows you can react like that. But when you are practicing that stillness, you'll have so many options in the way you can respond to a situation. So that's not just creating something here, but that every response is also creating the health of your body. That every response is creating your relationships. That every response is creating the vibrations of the environment. And that every response is creating your destiny. So you're creating in every thought. In every thought. But today's world is thinking too much. And when you're thinking too much, you don't create that right thought. It's just noise. So much of noise inside. Overthinking is like an epidemic. Everybody says, oh, ये बंद नहीं होता, यहाँ सोचना बंद नहीं होता. It's overthinking. So just a few minutes of, even if you consciously sit in silence. Mindfulness, it will start happening.
So it links, if we go to see.
Always.
Because innately we are still. We've added so much to our life around us, and that's what then dominates your thoughts. And we are so caught in that sometimes just being able to, hit that spot. I mean, we always talk of the young generation today. You ask two people to sit in a room quietly for 30 minutes. Impossible without your device. Just sit quietly.
30 minutes, no. 10 minutes, 5 minutes to begin with. 30 minutes, they won't even start it.
I think there's a big message from our conversation here is that we have to be able to unleash and unlock our own true potential, which is innately creative, which is innately one of excellence. I think we have to be able to, intuitively be in that state.
The mind,
to bring that out.
The mind worked on matter and we created magic outside. If this same mind works on itself, what magic we will create? But we created that magic and now that magic is overpowering us. So it's this stimulus world that we have created. We're so engaged in that we're not creating the magic with the mind. We're only creating magic with matter. But it's the mind who created that matter. So why can't we create the same magic with the mind? But then for that, for a few minutes to practice, you have to disconnect from that world of matter, which means picking up your phone, talking to someone. You have to disconnect for some time and then you consciously practice stillness. But after that, you will be in that state of being most of the time, even when you are engaging with the world of matter. Even when you're in the middle of a crisis, you will experience silence here. And then through that silence will pop up that right intuitive thought of how you are going to handle that crisis. But otherwise, today we are in a crisis, we entangle even more. Call up this one, talk to this one. Just sit 1 minute in silence and you know the best answer of how to solve that crisis.
Many people say, like what you said, right? It takes time, and when it pops up by 4 a.m, But Abhishek, you have interacted, you mentioned, with creative people from different walks of life, right? I mean, your creativity has been unleashed at the best level globally. Did you find this as a common characteristic of when you were conversing with many of them? What did you find that, like what you said, right, that excellence or, something which stands out from the rest, what is it that was different about some of these people? Is there a common thread?
I'm not sure I would associate stillness with every artist I know, but I would definitely associate dedication and a rigor to what they do. There's a huge amount of patience, there's a huge amount of striving for excellence and going after getting that. See, people feel that when you know something, it comes so easy, but they don't realize what it takes. I mean, for a great singer, it's hours of riyaz every day, and after 30 years, you feel that you've got somewhere. It's the same thing with excellence in anything. To somebody else, it might seem ki, what is it? They've just done this little scribble and it's supposed to be a great piece of art, or they just sang without even practicing. But they don't realize what's gone behind that. So this rigor and this dedication is a common factor that I've seen. I'm not sure all the artists I know are very mindful, still people.
No, but that patience,
That patience, of course,
practice,
requires that. Yeah.
that itself says you disconnect from this world
rest.
and you focus on what you want to work on, right? So even that, so if anybody just picks up that sanskar also, that, don't get distracted. We need that dedication, that consistency and practice. That is what is lacking in a world where we prefer to get distracted. Okay, I want to do this and suddenly I want to pick up the phone. Put it away for an hour. So how many of our youth today are ready to just put it away for an hour and then practice and do that determination? So you have to first disconnect from distraction. No? Then you will be able to do this with consistency and put in that. It is, even that is stillness only, actually. They might not consciously sit and meditate, but when they are in
Doing
that
that,
prayer,
yeah.
they are still. So, see, most of the artists will say, this is my meditation. When we tell them to meditate, they say, this is my meditation. My singing is my meditation. My dancing is my meditation. My painting is my meditation. Because at that time, they don't have any clutter thoughts. So they experience very silence here and completely with. So they feel that is their meditation. So many people, they may not be great artists, but when they are stressed or when they're troubled, it's I'll go and paint. So that itself is a way of creating that silent, peaceful mind for them.
And I think you know when that's happening, even as an artist, because you get that connection to the divine, almighty, whatever you call it, and you know that there's a connecting thread and you can feel that energy because nothing else matters then. I mean, many artists that one has spoken to have experienced that, and they get completely lost in that world and nothing else exists at that time.
So it's as though you're created just to do this, that's your
Which is, whenever you're doing anything and you're wholeheartedly in it, then the world just stops. It's only that. And that would only have come from a place of excellence, and the result of that will only be excellent.
As a matter of fact, at that time, you lose the fact that you are who you are also. So the ego also, in a way, just goes away. Like what you said, you just become so connected to
Otherwise you become the blockage in the way.
Otherwise, you owe this, and so many things come in. So I think to all the budding artists and all the creative people out there, I think if you can build a little strength in this area, I think it will enhance the outcomes. And maybe Abhishek, you can also create an MF Husain one. But what you have done is exceptionally great.
But patience is something I have none of.
Well, we after this podcast, we know something that you're going to take back to yourself. But we're all on this journey, right, together. But I think what you have done, to put all of these artists and creative, people together in a museum, get people to recognize that, get people to come and visit. Tell us a little bit more about, MAP and really how you went about doing this, and maybe towards, a little part somewhere is if someone really wants to get their work in, what will it take?
So I think this impetus came from the fact that we have such incredible art in India, but our museums left a lot lacking. While growing up, some of the best shows about Indian art that I saw were in museums overseas, whether it's in London or in New York or in Paris or Japan. And the sad part is we have all this here. Our museums are amazing in terms of what they have. But why is the experience when you go there so lackluster? It's not impossible to do. It's just that nobody has paid so much attention to it. And surely there are far bigger issues for the government to tackle where this has not been so much in focus. And in this day and age, to still go overseas to see a great Indian show is not speaking well of what India is doing. When we have the best telephone networks, the greatest airports, the best companies, everything, then why should this be left behind so far? So it was really, if no one's going to do it, let me do it. And there's no point talking about something and waiting for someone else to do it. If you can do it yourself. So I said, let me try. And I never realized that this is the amount of patience it would require and how long it would take. You know, when you think you're doing something meaningful, there would be a surfeit of people coming to help you do that. It was a lonely journey to start with, but I must say now people believe in what we are doing, and it's been really, really rewarding. So the idea was, let's seed a museum just to show that it can be done, and not do it for being the best museum in Bangalore or in Karnataka or in India, but how can it be meaningful and do things differently for the world and make an impact irrespective of where it is. So that was the...
Yeah, and then you put your own art in, and then, so what's there in the museum? And
So the museum was started with this idea. So the family put in half the money that we required to buy the land and build it. And we went to other friends and corporates to support it. And it was amazing, the response we got. Of course, I got many no's for every yes, but I've forgotten about all that now. Then we needed the corpus to run the museum. And that was a huge amount, and not the kind of money. See, this was a passion project. It wasn't a business venture. It's a charity. So that's when the family gifted about 7,000 works of art from the collection to match the corpus amount. And that's what even gave the others the confidence that this is a serious thing that they're doing, because it amounted to a lot. And we are today fortunate because we've invited people to join this. And we have some of the best names in terms of corporates, foundations, individuals, not just from India, but from around the world.
yeah, and I think in a way, this is also about giving, right? I mean, it is a way of philanthropy, because you've collected something, and then you're sharing it for a larger, set of people to see. Giving makes you happy, right?
Anything done selflessly.
Yeah.
You just have to check that it's selflessly. So then that is giving. If there's any intention of getting anything in return, that's also fine. But you want to leave the highest level of giving is where you have you're just giving because you want to give. There's nothing you seek in return. Neither materialistically outside, but neither subtle, any desire of any. And you're going to the highest level of giving. And the higher you go in that level of giving, innately that is what will make you feel contented. Contentment is not going to come from achievement. So that's why people can reach where they had imagined or more than they had imagined in terms of their achievement, but they don't experience contentment. So they will still say there's some vacuum inside, because they thought the more I achieve, I will be contented, whether it is materialistically, whether it's name, fame, everything. It's not going to create contentment, because contentment will not happen like this. Contentment will happen like this. This is the human nature. So selfless giving, there's no more beautiful
And
feeling.
you
like
heard a
that.
lot of yeses, a lot of no's.
That's part of
So
nature.
that was the part of. So,
That's part of
but you
nature.
saw more convert as more gave. I mean, sometimes these are infectious, movements.
So I think two things happened. One was they also saw the dedication and conviction with which one was doing it. They also saw how much one had put in terms of time, energy, and effort, and of our own into that. And then it's also that one name attracted another. It just gave them the confidence that if so-and-so is part of it, and when they would do their due diligence, ultimately it came to a point where very few people even would bother to do a due diligence. They'll pick up the phone and speak to any one of them. And we were also clever that we didn't want just anyone who was giving us money. We wanted the quality of the money and the people, because we wanted those who were really interested in what we were doing. Like Sister Shivani said, it wasn't those who were giving for the sake of being recognized that they are part of this club or something like that. So we were conscious of that, and I think that has stood us in good stead. And you're right that contentment is something, when you're wanting something secretly, then it's a transaction.
Yeah.
And for me, this has just become a passion. It's become my joy. I still run my businesses, except that takes 10-15% of my time and the rest goes here. And one has heard that giving is infectious, and once you start giving, and I kind of always felt a little skeptical about this, because I said, I've always enjoyed getting. So how can giving be so much fun? Until one actually experienced it. And it's for no selfish motive that one has done. And many people would say, but why did you have to give all this art? Why couldn't you have loaned it to the museum? And you realize you can't take it with you in any case. And it's not that I've stopped enjoying it because I've given it. I'm enjoying it much more because now there are 100 people working on it to bring it out in different ways, which would have otherwise never happened if it's lying in storage. And so this entire thing about what does MAP stand for, the Museum of Art and Photography, I said, for me, it's almost become the meaning and purpose of my life. I just enjoy it so much. And when you talked about name, fame, whatever, so my team had, when we were listing out all the patrons and the people who'd supported, wrote right on top Radhika and Abhishek Poddar. And I said, listen, I don't want my name anywhere there. So then they cut it out and wrote the Poddar family. When we sent it in for actual printing, I got that changed without them knowing, to a family inspired by art. I said, it's got nothing to do with who's given it. Today, when you go to the Met or you go somewhere, you even care who started it. You just enjoy the space. And I said, that's what I want to do it. It's somebody had mentioned ki ye apne naam ke liye kar raha hai, and that day I decided that my name won't come anywhere there.
But that's beautiful.
But it's also, that's the only way anybody gave in India. If you go to these temples, the name would be carved on the floor for people to walk over, not on top, the way it's done in some countries in the West.
Giving without even you knowing you're giving is the ultimate state to live. You know, when I say you,
Mainly, we were taught, when we were children, एक हाथ दे, दूसरे हाथ को पता नहीं चलना चाहिए. That is giving.
Yeah.
Which means leave it on the next person. Your other hand should not, that it has to be so selfless and so incognito, only for no other reason, for your own inner growth. If you do it with name, fame, only your ego starts building up with it. And the more the ego starts building up, spiritually you're getting disempowered because your ego is building up. But if you do it with absolutely no expectation in return, it increases your humility. So it is only for our benefit, not for anyone else's benefit. It's for our benefit that when you do it absolutely selfless and incognito, then that inner world, that stillness will...
So that's what I'm saying, right? It's one hand, still there is something behind, that knows. I mean, I'm saying giving, even because ultimately whatever you're getting is also because someone else is given, right? Whatever or whoever. So people somewhere, I think we miss this equation. Right? Like, I mean, we like to always link science to, some of these
giving
things.
In the sense, like suppose the name had come there, right? So there would be so much appreciation, praise, people talking about it here. So then you have shifted from giving to getting out of that whole thing.
Correct.
So the museum still remains the same. Everything that you did still remains the same, but your energy shifts. So you started with an intention of giving, but you don't even come to know very soon. It's very addictive. That getting is very addictive.
But
So
I would like to ask you one thing. I'm getting a lot of joy. I'm enjoying it tremendously. So
that joy is not coming like this. That joy is getting created because of the karma that you have done. That's why the giving is very powerful. Because in giving, you create that energy. And it is that energy which makes you experience happiness. During COVID, we have a TV channel at the organization. So we sent out a little thing that whatever seva you're doing during COVID, make a 1-minute video and send it. In very small ways. So even little children, हमने वॉचमैन भैया के लिए चाय बनाया, हमने मम्मी को ये help किया. And so many people recorded in that. We never felt happier than this. So giving, it's the energy what you create is what is happiness. We thought we achieve and we get, and that will give happiness. And so we've achieved so much today. And people are only stressed and more than that.
Even love, right? Many people say, oh, give me love. But when you give love, that joy you get is a very different level. Most people associate, oh, when I get love, I'll be happy. Actually, it's the other way around.
While giving, you are the first person who gets it. Like, if I react and get angry, I will say I'm getting angry at him. But who's experiencing that anger and whose BP and pulse is going to shift? It's mine, not his. So the creator is the giver. And so while giving, we are the first one to experience that energy. So we have to be very careful what we are giving because we are the receiver. That receiver has a choice whether he receives or no. But I am the receiver of what I am giving. So spiritually, the line is, देने में ही लेना समाया हुआ है. देते हुए, you are the first one. So anything you want in life, say, I want love, I want peace, I want happiness, I want respect, there's only one way: give. It's while you're giving that you will get it. You won't get it like this. You will get it while you're giving because you're creating that energy.
So only a creator can give.
Only a creator can give. Yeah.
Because they're talking of creative people. They have given
beautiful
their joy. You think about it, right? It's so powerful. Because if you want, and who wouldn't want to operate from a position of being a creator? I mean, let's put it simply, or who wouldn't want to play God?
But he's also done one more thing which is very important, is the power of the one. Like, not waiting for somebody else will come up with this. It's not easy to think of something which nobody's done and you're the one person that it requires. And then you listen to so many no's.
I waited long enough. When he came, that's when it's terrible.
I first time with people was, I think, over a decade.
About 6.
See, but ego also gets worked on through this process. Like, you're coming from an affluent business family. You don't need to go and ask people for donation. You see, even having to do that and listening to a no is good for the ego. It gets nicely.
So I tell you, Nivi, I've never even taken a loan in my life.
That's what.
And the first time I went to meet a banker, so he said, oh, Mr. Poddar, you finally come to take a loan. I said, no, I've come to take a donation. So you couldn't believe that.
Yeah.
And when you're not used to a no, and earlier it would make me, for 2 days, it would have my entire mood down, because here you feel you're doing something good, to na kyun koi bolega. And now I don't even think about it, because many of them have come back after that, wanting to be part of this.
So each time anyone says a no, they're not saying no to us. They are choosing their destiny.
True.
So the day it's in their karma and their fortune, they will make it a yes. Till then, it's still not part of their karma right now.
And maybe your thing is to wish them well and
Always.
And send a good positive energy to them. Because
so if we have to ever ask anyone for a donation, we won't say like, we need, so we are asking for you. This is an opportunity for you to make a fortune. If you feel like, go ahead with it. And even if you don't, we're all friends.
This is what the chair of our board said, that we are giving you the opportunity to do this.
Now, this itself changes the energy. So you're not even going for a donation like this. Even over there, you're going like this, that we are coming here to give you an opportunity to be a part of it.
Sir, aap ye dono cheez jo bole, that when you're looking to receive, you have to give to receive, which was brilliant. And this other thing also about, it's not in your karma right now.
Yeah. But it will happen. Like you said, so many people change. Sometimes we're not ready to be the first one. After we see it's working.
Yeah.
But if we keep the right pure wishes for them.
Yeah, absolutely.
If we keep any subtle negative energy going from us to them, na bol diya, itne achhe friends hai, we've been friends for years, and even then he did say, then that energy shift will happen. But if we keep those pure wishes and say, like, no problem, this was just an opportunity for you and we're sure you'll use it another time, then that vibration will also shift. So the museum is not just a collection of art. It is a collection of vibrations of everyone who's in the book. So intention, so his intention, then his family's intention to be the first one to be able, and then everybody who joins together. That's why that intention and vibration is what creates that energy.
When can I show you the museum?
Rajan, when do we go and see it?
We have to go and see it, of course. No, but
feel it. We will go.
The essence of the museum, and this is a good way to kind of think about it. The essence of that museum is what we are discussing today. So when one goes and visits the museum and understands these nuances that have gone to build, It's not just a physical infrastructure. It's the work of so many creative people over so many generations that has all come together. And you are being able to just witness that. Of course, some people able to contribute to shape that. I think that joy is a greater collective joy than anything else, right? And I think for us to be able to, create, like you as an inspiration, to create so many more spaces like this, right? And which better place in India, to take the lead and do it not, like you said, for India, but for the world from India. I think these are our inner, what we call soft powers and what we started out with, which India has been blessed, over thousands of years.
You see, Rajan, during the course of building the museum, the first thing was to get the money to build this thing. And being a passion project, one didn't want to, and it was an expensive project, to pull out that money from business, because if everybody in the family wants to do a passion project and they're going to pull out that, it's not fair on the others in the family. So I said, I'm not going to disrupt or take money from there. I said, I'm going to do a sale of some art that I bought through an auction and use that money to put it in this. So there's this property that I really liked, which I wanted to situate the museum in.
It's in the heart of Bangalore.
Right in the center of the city, across the main Bangalore museum.
So people can come and visit.
Yeah, because it's already in the museum district. Now, when I sat down to negotiate that price, it was the highest price ever in the history of Bangalore per square foot of land. But, वो हिंदी में कहावत है कि सस्ता खरीदो तो रोज रोज रो, महंगा खरीदो तो एक ही बार रो. I said, आज ही रो लेते हैं. And let's go ahead with that, because otherwise, for the same amount of money, I could have bought acres and acres on the outskirts. But when we don't have a museum-going culture, who's going to go there? And it wasn't a vanity project that it was for my name and fame that I was doing it. I wanted people to come. So we agreed on the price, and I asked for time to pay until the auction would happen. We announced the auction, and within 15 days, the demonetization happened. Now, that was the worst thing I could have asked for, because nobody wanted to spend money. Not that people became poor, but they just felt poor because there was such confusion all around. So the auction didn't go quite as we had imagined or expected it to go. But there's God's hand on my head. And whatever we needed to pay now, imagine if the deal had been done post the demonetization with the land, I would have got it for a much cheaper price. Here, I transacted at a higher price, but I got a lot less of what I would have got had both events happened at the same time. Nevertheless, we go ahead with that. We start construction. Then COVID happens. Now, again, the world shuts down. Within just about 15-20 days before the world shut down, we gave a date when we are going to open the museum, which was in December of 2020. अब आप कहाँ से बनाओ जब nothing is moving, construction has come to a halt, nobody is there, there's a lockdown and curfew. And in August, I say we are still going to open the museum on the date in December 2020. And my team thinks I'm mad. So they said, but how? We can't even finish the building and nobody is going out of the house. Why the hell will they come to see this? So I said, let's do a digital opening. Now, how do you digitally open a museum? It's never been done before. So we said, आजकल तो सब कुछ digital हो रहा है, ये भी हो जाएगा. So we start planning a digital opening until I'm having a conversation with a friend. And he asked me a question which nobody has asked me before. He says, how many meetings have you attended digitally now that COVID had been on for about 4 or 5 months? So I said, hundreds. He said, tell me about a digital memory you've made. And I said, can you ask me that again? He said, once the computer is switched off, what do you remember? I mean, unless you've taken some notes, it's all a blur. So he said, do you want the opening to be a blur? So I said, no, I don't want the opening to be a blur. So he said, then why don't you do it differently? I said, how? He said, why don't you take them into your building and show them what the building looks like? I said, but don't you realize it's still a construction site? It's far from being ready. So he said, this is Bangalore. This is the age of technology. Why can't you digitally complete the building and take everybody for a walk through the building? And I said, thank you for complicating my life even more. You know, as it is, there were multiple layers of complications. And I'd involved a filmmaker to do this because he said, you can't just be getting someone to come and do a speech and then another speech and that happens. So when we are discussing this, he said, okay, we got a tech company to do a digital walkthrough of the museum. So he says, now, what do we do inside the building? So I said, let's take them through the building. And I wanted different people who were associated with the journey to walk you through different parts of the building. And now somebody is abroad, somebody is somewhere else, travel is stopped. So how do you even interview them and get them to walk inside? And somebody walking up the stairs, digitally, how do you superimpose someone going? And this was 5-6 years ago. Yeah, it's a different world today and how technology is gone. And then he comes up with this brilliant plan that when you go to an opening, it's only a social affair. You never get to see the art because it's so crowded. So let's do the walkthrough where you see the art, but you don't see any people. I said, but that's going to be such a boring thing. And he says, you will hear the people, but you will not see them. So you'll hear the rustle of the sari, the clinking of their jewels, the glasses, the laughter, the clapping, the whispers, but you don't see them. And I said, but watching a 1-hour opening, it's okay to do this for a few minutes. Rajan, we did it like that. If we had done a physical opening, we would have had 135 people in our auditorium. We had 30,000 people for our digital opening. And that's when we realized the power of technology. So we actually made every crisis into an opportunity. And what we thought was the end of the world ended up showing us an opportunity we had never seen. And every time it was somebody's hand up there making us do this, because who even knew all this was going to happen? We then said, technology is going to become our main focus. Today, we are working with the best tech companies in the world. And museums from all over the world come to look at our technology. I could barely spell technology before we started this. I still know very less. No, that's true. But what we've done in terms of technology here is possibly beyond what any museum in the world has done today.
The whole creative power is also a form of technology, and maybe we don't understand.
And today, technology has really come to this point that if you can imagine it, you can do it.
Absolutely.
So when the intention is selfless, it's pure, you're vibrating at a higher frequency. And then when you're vibrating at a higher frequency, then you will feel this feeling of a miracle. That वो उसका हाथ है.
But कई बार तो लगता है that it is, what should I say? It's like my hair is standing up, that it's too good to be true and you don't want कि इसमें नजर लग जाए.
कभी भी नहीं लगेगी ना. नजर हमारी खुद की लगती है, किसी और की नहीं लगती है. And our nazar is our ego, our desires. Till you will keep that intention pure and selfless, it will always go higher. It is only we who have to take. It's like people are very simple, humble, and then suddenly they achieve success and, name and fame. That changes the person.
Yeah.
And when the person changes, destiny starts changing. So as long as that innate remains clean, intention, selfless, then it's only magic and more magic after that.
Yeah, and as you were saying earlier, before we started this podcast, right? Like you said, किसी की नजर लग गई. You are saying किसी की नजर. It's not that the nazar किसी की like. It's your mind. I think what Sister Shivani is saying, if you keep your mind, we all of us and everybody there keeps that mind in the right place, everybody's positive.
Nazar actually means a lower energy, right? Nazar means I'm jealous of you. So then I'm not radiating the best energy to your achievement or to your success. Agreed. There can be people around us who are not happy with seeing all your achieving. Yeah, jealous or whatever. But it's a lower energy, right? So they're vibrating at a lower energy. If I start saying, oh, मुझे किसी की नजर लग रही है या लग गई है, then I also start vibrating at their frequency, So it's like I open the window for their energy to come in. But if you're here and you start saying today कि मेरे ऊपर उसकी नजर है, आपने कहा ना the higher power, तो मेरे ऊपर उसकी नजर है और मेरे पास सबकी दुआएं हैं. नजर की मतलब जेलेसी कितने लोगों को होती है? मे बी 5. एंड ब्लेसिंग्स कितने की है? सो there will comparison. So it's we who, which side are we going to connect in our minds? If he say मेरे पे पहली बात तो उसकी नजर है, and दूसरा मेरे पास इतनों की दुआएं हैं. And everyone who goes through that experience, even they come out, it's a blessing ना. Oh, what a beautiful experience. That's also a blessing. So इतनी सारी blessings के सामने, that looking jealousy, तो even these blessings will heal them also. So not the other way around. And we can keep alive. मेरे पे कभी किसी की नजर लग ही नहीं सकती. That's our affirmation. वो लग ही नहीं सकती. उसकी नजर and अपनी intention. That is our suraksha kavach. That's our protection sheet.
And every time we've all grown up, that do things that you get the duas of people. You get the blessings of people, and let that be so large that everything else kind of subsides. I mean, it's been wonderful.
But selfless giving will always earn blessings.
Yes,
Of course. Selfless giving.
People see that.
With a desire, you will get appreciation. You desire for appreciation, you will get appreciation. But if you do it selfless, it's blessings. तो वो blessings इतनी
What higher, blessing or appreciation?
वो कोई comparison नहीं है
How can
उसका.
you say that?
There is no
You get the
comparison
idea
of
when
that.
you think of these words, because ultimately words,
What
we
highest is that you appreciate the blessings you get.
There you go. You get the best of all those words. No, we've had a wonderful discussion. We have one small segment, Abhishek, which we try to, not the rapid fire, but we call it the mindful minute.
Okay.
Pointed answers to some small questions, just a little fun activity we try to do towards the end. But, if I were to ask you, what's the best piece of art you've ever collected?
I'm not sure I can answer what's the best piece of art. I can say what's my favorite piece of art. It's more to do with the relationship I had with Manjit Bawa, and it was, I think, the first work of his that I got. It's called the Sultan of Aman. It's a canvas painted by Manjit. I must have got it when I was 17 or 18.
Lovely. And I want to hear a very different answer. I'm going to ask you the same thing. What's the best piece of art when you think of art? How do you relate to it?
I'm not collected or gathered anything.
One thing you'd like to change about the art world?
I've realized I can't change it, so I live with it. I stay quite far away from the art world. It's a world which is rather superficial, and it's now based on appreciation of a different kind. It's an appreciation which is not in the eye but in the wallet. So people collect art because of how it's going to appreciate in value. And I think that's a very shallow way of looking at what art can do.
One piece of advice, you wish you had received earlier in life?
Collect fewer things, but collect only the best.
And we'll end with 3 words that describe you.
Passionate, don't take no for an answer, and get things done.
And maybe 3 words that you think you met him for the first time today, that you think would describe him.
Dedication, authenticity, and humility.
Thank you. Thank you, Abhishek. Thank you, Sister Shivani, for this wonderful interaction.
Thank you so much, Rajan.
Thank you.
You too can start or enhance your mindfulness journey using the ThinkRight app on iOS and Android store. It's got a huge number of daily affirmations, daily journeys, daily meditations that will enable us to hold your hand as you move in this transformative journey of life.